Hey everybody, it's Modern Refugee. I just kind of wanted to show you the very first thing that I harvest every year, and that's my rhubarb. Rhubarb is extremely cold weather tolerant and extremely hardy, and I pretty much tell folks if you want to plant a few things, the rhubarb is one thing that you can plant that's going to really produce for you. It'll come back year after year. It's extremely cold weather hardy, and it will put stalks on right straight through late fall. So you can take a few stalks of this off every couple weeks all season long. So anybody that's of a prepper mindset, I tell them they should start growing a rhubarb stalk somewhere around their home. But what you do is you just take and cut the stalks down as low as possible, and you cut the tops of the leaves off, and you cut it up to put it in your dish. And I'm going to show you one of the things that I make here with my rhubarb. But I just kind of wanted to show this to you. I don't know if everybody has ever seen how rhubarb grows, but that's kind of what it looks like. And I'll come to you back from the kitchen here in just a bit. Alright everybody, we're in the kitchen here. I got my harvested rhubarb. All I do is I cut my stalks real low, and I cut the leaves off and wash them. I'm going to dice these up, and I'm going to make a fruit crisp. Rhubarb is one of the things that I like putting into a fruit crisp. And fruit crisps in general, I like making because you can use whatever's available. So I got rhubarb here. I'm going to use a store-bought apple, and I'm actually going to use some of my freeze-dried strawberries that I got on my preps. I just took them out of the package there. It was kind of the astronaut brand, and I soaked them in a little water. I'm going to dice those up and add these to my crisp. You can use blueberries, you can use raspberries, apples, pears, rhubarb, just whatever you can find. You can do combinations. If you've only got, like I said, one apple here, you can add all that stuff together, and that's going to be the basis for your fruit crisp. And then this is going to be my crumb topping, or in the German, as I learned it, Streusel. What you do is I got a half a cup of rolled oats, a half a cup of brown sugar, and a half a cup of flour, and I actually even using gluten-free flour in this recipe here. And then what you do is you cut shortening into that till it gets as crumbly as you like it. I'm using butter here today because, you know, SHTF isn't quite happened just yet, but you can use shelf-stable shortening too, like a butter-flavored Crisco. Works just as good in this. And what you do is you just dice all the fruit up. You add a couple tablespoons of flour and a couple tablespoons of sugar, depending on how sweet you like it. And you mix that together, and what that'll do when that cooks is that'll solidify and make the base for that, and then you put your crumb topping on top of it, so it has a really good appearance. And I'm actually going to cook this today in my cast iron out on the fire pit. And this is my small little cast iron pan here that I'm going to use. I'm going to just line it with a little bit of parchment paper, and because this doesn't have a lid, I'm going to improvise a lid, and I'm going to use my skillet, my little griddle. I'm going to flip that upside down and put it on top of the skillet, and I'm going to put my hot coals on top of that so it browns on top. So anyway, when I got this all kind of put together here, I'm going to show you what it looks like as I get it in the pan. But anyway, it's just another use for your stuff out in your yard. Okay, here's everything mixed up. This is my apples and rhubarb and freeze-dried strawberries mixed up with about 2 tablespoons of gluten-free flour and a couple tablespoons of white sugar. Now this right here, you can add as little or as much sugar as you want, depending on how sweet you want it. Another thing is you can add other flavorings into this if you prefer. I'm not today, but you can add cinnamon or a little nutmeg. If you're doing just straight apple, I would definitely add cinnamon into it, but you can add whatever flavorings that you like into this. This is my my crumble or Streusel topping that's going to go on top of this. I used about a quarter cup of butter into this. The butter was kind of a little bit cooler than room temperature when I worked this in. But again, you can use something shelf stable like a butter flavored Crisco to make this work as well. So this was a half a cup of rolled oats, a half a cup of gluten-free flour, a half a cup of light brown sugar, and about a quarter cup of butter. And I also put in just a pinch of pink Himalayan salt. I'm going to put this all in my parchment lined cast iron pan. I kind of tucked all the tails of the parchment paper in because of course I don't want that to catch on fire because it's going over the open fire. And then I'm going to cover it up with my griddle. My griddle is going to be the lid for this. So as I'm outside doing my chores, this is going to cook. So when I have that out there and going, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Now I got my fire going here, starting to make some coals. This is some of the scrap wood that I had left over from my sawbuck video, so nothing goes to waste. And we're going to get the grate on here in just a second. We're going to get our rhubarb crisp on the fire here going. All right, we're going to get our crisp going here. We got the pan on. We're going to set our griddle over top. Now we're going to see if we can get some coals. Some coals going up on top here. That's some. We're going to get a little bit more on there. It's hard to do it with one hand, but now we're going to let this go for about 20 minutes, see what it looks like. All right, guys, we're about a half hour into this. We're going to take a little look-see here, see what we got underneath, and that's kind of what it looks like. We're going to give it about 5 more minutes, and we're going to take it off. All right, here we are back in the house. Kind of show you what this looks like. And there's our rhubarb crisp. It smells amazing. Now, this is going to need some kind of fancy topping for it. And this is kind of my prepper ice cream here. And what I did is I take a half a can of this canned cream, and I put in a couple tablespoons of vanilla ice cream mix. And it's not really like ice cream. It's a little bit thinner. Of course, it's not, ice cold, but this will make a great sweet vanilla topping for our rhubarb crisp. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little recipe here that I made with my rhubarb growing out in the yard. If you guys got any questions, you can put them down in the comments. As always, I appreciate all my subscribers out there. I hope you guys are enjoying my videos. But this is Modern Refugee. I'm going to have a little coffee now and a little rhubarb crisp. So you guys have a great day.